So I forgot I had that on a loop because I was like, why is it still going? Thank you for indulging me on 2/22/22. Today we're going to show films with the word "two" in the title, or maybe something about twins. I don't know. We'll see. What I discovered was that in looking in the stacks for films with two, I found a lot of films with three. A whole lot of films with three, which was kind of annoying. Because I don't think there's a 333 in my future. Anyways, yeah, I'm Skip Alsheimer. Welcome to the lunchtime streaming show. Here at AV Geeks, we watch old 16mm films, and that was the film 200, chopped up and laid out. I'm hoping you got to see what it had 2/22/22. I don't know. It was. Somebody said it was a fever dream, and I agree. Fever dream. All right. What do I got? I got on the Telecine, which is our film transfer machine behind us. I've got Two Little Owls. So enjoy.
The Great Horned Owl. It has been called a winged tiger. But the ferocious winged tiger is a gentle mother. The chicks are a week old already, but their story began 5 weeks ago in February when the female great horned owl laid 2 eggs. It was still winter in this northern area. Temperatures were cold, and there was snow on the ground. Owls are the first birds to nest each year, but they're not the only early nesters. These red-tailed hawks hatched only a few weeks later in very early spring. Red-tailed hawks often share the same woodlands with great horned owls. The hawks hunt by day, the owls by night. Herons are migratory birds, but they return and nest early too. They nest in colonies. Since herons, hawks, and owls are predators, they need a longer nest period than other birds to grow and develop skills to hunt for themselves. We'll follow the growth of these owl chicks in their 17-meter high nest. It's a warm day. The panting owlet watches its woodland neighbors. A fox squirrel. A cardinal. They spot their mother coming, but she seems frightened by something. She watches intently from a nearby tree as a man peers at her babies. Sam isn't harming them. He just wants to photograph the young owls. But he'd better watch out. She might attack to protect her young. He's writing a story about owls so other people can learn about them too. Since owls are not very active during the day, it is usually their calls during the night that make us aware of their presence. They do most of their hunting at night, too. The parents are kept busy now with their growing young demanding more food. Owls catch many kinds of prey, including mice, rats, and rabbits. As excellent hunters, they've earned their title of winged tigers. Well able to protect themselves, the owls have few natural enemies. Most deaths or injuries come from pesticides in their food, by flying into objects, or by careless people shooting them. Though federally protected by But many injured owls don't recover. This one's wing is permanently damaged from a rifle shot, so it will never fly normally or hunt for itself. The naturalist has a special Fish and Wildlife Service permit to keep this bird, so he can teach visitors about owls and other predatory birds. Since owls are nighttime or nocturnal birds, people don't often see them during the day. At night, the pupils in their large eyes open wide, allowing more light to enter so they can see better in the darkness. Owls can locate mice running across the forest floor with their keen sense of hearing. Then, seeing it, they fly almost without a sound to catch the prey in their sharp talons. Back at the treetop nest, the young have grown so large that the adult no longer sits over them to keep them warm. It is only April, but the month-old young have more than doubled their size. Owls do not migrate south. They are usually permanent residents, like the chickadee that stops nearby to eat a seed. A downy woodpecker could be food for the owls if it isn't careful. New feathers are replacing and covering their white down coats, so the owls must spend more time caring for them. But for the most part, life is easy, eating, growing, and sleeping. Not so easy, though, for the parents. Both must hunt for the young. They even do some daytime hunting in the field around the woodlot. One little owl is trying to get a good look at something he's never seen before. Geese returning north. Perhaps he wonders about flying free of his nest. Even though spring is here, it will be some time before the two little owls are ready to leave their nest. They cannot feed themselves yet. Owls eat small prey whole, but tear larger animals into smaller pieces, especially for the young owlets. Owls often have certain trees that they use regularly to roost in during the day. To find owls, Sam searches under the trees for owl pellets. When an owl swallows its prey whole or in large pieces, it includes the fur or feathers and bones. An owl pellet is a compact wad of indigestible materials the owl brings up and spits out. Naturalists can figure out what the owl has been eating by studying the contents of the pellets. It looks as if this one has eaten several small animals. Even young owls cast pellets. By regurgitating this excess indigestible material, their digestion is faster and more efficient than many other birds that grind everything up and pass it through the body. This gives them the extra energy they need. The young owlets still have a lot of growing to do before they reach fledgling size. It will be fall before they can take care of themselves. Days pass. It takes about 8 weeks from hatching until they are ready to leave the nest. Even then, they will not be able to fly well. Great horned owls are one of the 3 largest owls. Fully grown, they can have a wingspread of nearly 5 feet. Except for the Arctic, they are common through most of North America, as well as Central and South America. That red squirrel could make a good meal, but the young are no threat to it yet. A nuthatch looks for food. Sam has brought Ron to see the nest.
There they are.
Ron studies birds and wants to band the 2 young owls. It won't be easy. A protective parent owl can be very dangerous.
We'll have to watch that adult.
Sam's going to use climbing hooks to get up the tree to lower the owlets in the pail. The helmet will protect his head if that owl decides to attack with her sharp talons.
Be careful, Sam.
This is going to be a big event for the little owls. No doubt somewhat frightening, too.
Be careful, Sam. I'll keep an eye on that parent.
They snap their bills, trying to scare away their intruder. This is a dangerous job, one only experienced scientists should attempt. That's the second one. Sam is lucky he hasn't been attacked yet. Others have been seriously injured while studying owls.
Here they come. You got them, Ron? Yeah.
Next, it's the job of banding the owls. They're getting big. Ron will have his hands full. Thinking it has escaped, the other owlet fluffs his feathers to appear bigger and more threatening. Meanwhile, Ron places an official U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service band on the owl's leg. It is large enough to let the leg grow without harming it, and it will stay there for the owl's lifetime. The band has a number and address on it. If the owl dies and someone finds it, they should return the band to the address along with information about where they found the owl. Even this young owl shows its fearless nature. Banding provides information about the owl's movements and age. Ron has banded many owls, hoping to learn about their habits.
About ready down there? Okay. Pull them up, Sam. Keep an eye on that owl. She really looks threatening. Watch it, Sam. That's too close. Come on down.
The young seem to have settled down now just fine with their new leg bands. The adult lost no time returning to check on the safety of her young. Their job done, The men quickly leave the woods to the owls again. In fact, with all that excitement, it's time to catch up on some lost sleep. It has been a week now since the owls were banded. The parent has brought some prey for the young, who keep needing more food as they grow larger. They are strong and agile enough now to tear up the rabbit and feed themselves. Wing feathers are growing out too. Blackbirds and other birds return from the south in large flocks. They are easy prey. It isn't long until blackbirds are among the food items of the young owls. Clouds are building. It's going to be a rainy spring night. With good water-shedding feathers, our owl family sits comfortably in the rain. In a nearby tree, a raccoon is climbing about, unaware of the owls. But he's been spotted. The little owl moves his head about for a sharper look, to get a sense of distance. Unlike other birds, an owl's eyes are close together on its face, giving it depth perception much like our own. The raccoon continues his explorations. A restless owl exercises to improve its balance and strengthen its wings. Hungry, they cry for food. But the hunt was not successful. Rain kept prey under cover. She'll hunt again later for her 7-week-old young. Spring is awakening, and somewhere a ruffed grouse drums to attract a mate. Grouse haven't even started to nest yet. The rain brings other spring signs. Violets bloom. Hillsides are covered with hepatica. They bloom early before the trees shade the forest floor. Soon these tender young leaves will be completely unfolded from the buds. The rose-breasted grosbeak has returned. And so has the scarlet tanager. It was one of these spring days that we found only one owl left on the nest. He sees his nestmate sitting smartly on a branch below. But to the remaining owl, it appears like a long ways down to the ground. There is no reason to stay in the nest any longer, and it sure would be nice to fly away. The wind sways the trees around, and he's not too sure of himself. But his sister made it last night. He should be able to do just as well. It is courage he needs for that first jump. Here goes. Oops. Well, he is flying, even though it's all downhill. This first landing may not be too graceful, but he is not hurt. He sure needs strength and practice to fly better. Now the question is, how to get up off the forest floor. If only he could get up on a branch like his sister. And it better be soon, because there's a red fox nearby hunting for mice and insects, or even a young owl, if he could find one. First, it would be a good idea to head for cover. Seems a little safer here. He just has to find some way up, but at this age, his wings aren't strong enough to lift him off the ground. This might be it. A fallen tree trunk just could be the answer. It leads right up among the branches to safety off the forest floor. Of course, the watchful protective parent is still nearby. This is more like it. That fox won't find him now. The adults continue to catch food for the young and for themselves. They will also stay close to the owlets and protect them from predators. The young practice and become stronger flyers, but they still lack skills to catch their own prey, so the adults bring food to them. Eventually, the owlets develop the keen skills necessary to catch mice for themselves. The family remains together through the summer as the two little owls grow, but their life in the nest is over.
I've never heard of them before, or burlesque films. That's what I like about collecting film, is that you stumble across these small educational film companies, which are basically photographers who kind of up their game and shot motion picture and still photography, and then kind of piece together a narrative. The fox that showed up, it's hilarious. Let's learn about two little raccoons.
In this hollow tree live young animals. Doesn't seem to be anyone at home.
Oh, yes, we are, but we're down here. Be up there in a minute. We've just come back from a hunting trip. It was so much fun. Came home to rest a few minutes before we start looking for more food. We're always so hungry. Phew, what a climb. Oh, I'm a raccoon. My name is Randy, and that's my brother Wilbur.
Hello.
Now cut that out. You can tell we're raccoons by the black masks around our eyes and the rings on our tail. We love to play on these branches, but right now we're hungry again. So let's go, Wilbur. We're not too particular about what we eat, so long as it tastes real good. We can dig up all sorts of delicious things with our claws. Hey, Wilbur, look what I've found. An old rotten tree. I bet there's a lot to eat around here. Now, if I can, just get up here, I'll be able to dig out these insects. What a feast this is. Ha! Wilbur's found himself an old bird's nest to clean out. Of course, this is where we usually hunt for food. Our favorite hunting ground is a brook which runs near our home. When we were very little, our dogs and crayfish, and now we're very good at it. See, we don't need fishing rods to catch our fish. We just go after them with paws. This kind of hunting keeps our paws nice. Ah, there's my favorite food, a frog. Now, if I'm real careful, I'll... Hey, stand still a minute. How am I going to catch you if you keep hopping away? Say, Wilbur, give me a hand, will you?
I'm coming, Randy.
Wilbur, look what's coming along now, a turtle. Oh, my, Wilbur never could control his curiosity.
Hey, don't go away now. I'm just beginning to learn about you. Come back here. Now let's see. How do I get inside this?
Uh-oh, I just know something dreadful's gonna happen. There, I knew it. Wilbur's got his nose bitten.
Well, I've never been so insulted in my whole life. The nerve of some animals can't let a self-respecting turtle alone. Really?
Well, what shall we do now? Say, look, there's Farmer Brown's house. That's Tommy and Jane Brown playing outside. They're friends of ours, you know. Don't they play silly games, though? I bet they can't catch fish the way we do. People just aren't very smart, I guess. Wilbur, I see some berry bushes. Let's get some berries. My, don't they look delicious? You know, some people say that we look like little bears with long tails.
Do you Do you think we look like little bears with long tails?
Look, Wilbur, where do you suppose Tommy and Jane are going? What is that Tommy's carrying? Let's follow them. Why, they're going to have a picnic. You think they might invite us to join them if we promise not to eat too much? Ah, Tommy has seen us. He's asking us over. Well, come on, Slowpoke, let's go. Some people say that raccoons make cute pets, but they don't let us in their house because we get into so much mischief. Well, can we help it if we're curious about everything?
Don't know what this is, but it tastes pretty good. Now what's in here? Hey, put me down, Tommy. I want to eat, not play.
This is delicious, but I'm getting awfully full. I don't think I can take another bite, thank you. Come along, Wilbur. We still have many things to do today. We like Tommy and Jane because they're kind to us. They feed us and pet us. Goodbye. We'll see you again soon.
What's that? Mr. Woodchuck just scared me half to death. Calm down, calm down. No need to get so excited. I'm not going to hurt you. I only wanted to be friendly.
You raccoons always nosing around where you don't belong. Go away, go away, go away.
Well, if that's the way you feel about it, all right.
Say, look. The Browns are going away. Do you suppose we might...
Why not? There's no one home. Come on, Randy. This is our chance to see how people live.
I wonder how we can get inside. Ooh, look, a window, and it's open.
I don't know about you, but I couldn't squeeze through that small opening.
All right, then let's open it wider.
Here, let me help you.
Look, great help you are.
Well, let's try again.
Look, Wilbur. Now, how are we gonna work this?
Look, I'm getting in.
Well, if you can do it, I guess I can too. There.
So this is the kind of house people live in. Let's look around. What's in here? Boy, this doesn't look much like a frog, but it tastes even better.
Wilbur, you know we're being awfully naughty coming in here like this.
Oh, stop worrying. Nobody will ever know. Besides, there's so many interesting things to see and do in here. I'll get to the bottom of this.
Well, if you think it's all right, let's see what's in this funny-looking box. I wonder what this is. Maybe it's a nut. Doesn't taste like a nut.
Randy, look. This must be a bird's nest. There are eggs in it. Funniest bird's nest I ever saw. It's a good thing I can hold things with my paws. Most animals can't, you know.
Wonder what this is.
Next to frogs, I love eggs best.
Now, how can I open this? There must be some way to get into it.
Hey, Randy,
Oh, you frightened me. Now look what you've done.
let me have it.
No, give it to me. I found it first. Well, I have my share.
Oh, yeah? Well, so have I think.
Look what I found. Great.
Uh-oh, look who's coming back. Oh, look, Wilbur and Randy, the little rascals. They shouldn't have come into our house without being invited. But let's tiptoe quietly so that we won't frighten them.
Wilbur, do you see what I see? Let's get out of here, quick.
No, wait. You two have been very naughty coming in here like this. Houses are for people, not for raccoons. If you want to be our friends, you must promise never to come in here and do mischief again.
We're sorry, Tommy and Jane. We'll never do it again, honestly. Let's go, Wilbur. That was fun, but we must never again go where we don't belong. Houses are for people, not for raccoons.
Well, these trees are for raccoons and not for people.
I guess this is where we really belong, isn't it, Wilbur?
I guess it is, Randy. My, it's good to be home.
That was almost the antithesis of the Two Little Owls. And I should say that the raccoons going into the house is very reminiscent of Snookum Bears on Rampage, in which Snookum Bears, which I think are a relative of raccoons, basically go into a farmhouse and they wreak havoc. So there you go. Seems that's what kids like. And that Snookum Bears on Rampage was actually a Castle film, and it was totally for entertainment. And this Young American Films is, an educational film company, but I'm guessing this was made for young kids to kind of get them excited about learning stories about animals. All right, this next film is great. It's part of a series made by National Film Board of Canada and distributed in the United States by McGraw-Hill. And it shows the development of kids. And it's made for parents and made for child development scholars. And it just shows little clumps, and so this is terrible twos and, well, trusting threes. Enjoy.
The terrible twos and the threes are the ages we like to compare. In this example, department of national and welfare. By Crowley Films, Ottawa.
This is a playgroup of 2-year-olds. They're always on the go. They're clumsy and roly-poly, but constantly working at the business of controlling their bodies. Crawling and climbing, pushing and steering, sliding, whoops, trying another way. Is it possible to walk up a slippery slide? Well, you only find out by trying. Oh, well, there are lots of other things to do. From a grown-up point of view, the 2-year-olds seem aimless, but there's learning in just pure handling of objects. Jay's far from master of his own body, but he's unconcerned by his tumbles. Pulled by curiosity about the next in sight, he pauses and stares. He works hard for a few moments. Most of the time he looks quite competent, but baby child as he is, he still needs grown-up help. These twos have many qualities in common, and if parents understand how most twos behave, they'll know what to expect from their own child. But while they do behave in a way typical of their age, each child is an individual, as different in mental and emotional makeup as they are in physical appearance. Most twos look like lovable picture book babies. But they can be exasperating. Now, for the first time, they are able to fight for what they want. Where did all this aggression spring from? How do we handle this tough little two? Can we explain to Roddy that he's not being gentlemanly? No. Lectures on etiquette will come much later. Just as the two likes to express his feeling with his body, he responds best to simple pats of comfort and good-humored remonstration. But the greatest magic is distraction. He'll learn gradually that hitting the other fellow doesn't pay. But the teacher can't be everywhere at once, and Robert seems to be destined to be unseated. Never underestimate the power of a woman, even at 2. We don't remember how it felt to be 2, so we must learn by observing closely with tolerance, good humor, and understanding. 2s are only just beginning to play together. They're happy playing side by side, absorbed in their own thoughts, enjoying neighborly companionship. But as soon as one interferes with the other, there's trouble. Before you can really learn to share toys, you must first learn the feeling of mine. It's mine. It's mine. These twos are learning the feeling of possession. Christina reflects her gains. Robert finds comfort from his thumb. But social contacts are only part of being 2. There is so much to learn. How things work. How things feel. The squishy, soapy cloth. It's the joy of feeling as much as learning how Mum does it. And rubber, when it's wet, is shiny and tastes good. Tasting is still important at 2. Clay has another feel, wonderfully icky. And the use of a tool like a paintbrush combines feeling and result. It takes lots of concentration and an arbitrary use of colors. There's learning in books, and the informative comments of adults. Blocks are a wonderful toy for children of all ages, but twos need a little help to get started. Nothing lasts long with twos. Here they change to pushing and loading. If somebody spoils it, there's always a doll to talk it out with. Acting out scenes from home is an important part of life. How can you understand unless you try it yourself? The beautiful, competent two, so completely independent. And yet so lacking in judgment. Let's build it so it's more steady. Instead of just saying no, no, teacher is ready with positive suggestions that are fun in themselves. For the 2-year-old, there are so many choices, so many ways to do things. One can make a game of resisting, or have fun conforming and learning how. Yes, the teacher of twos has many experiences during a morning. She needs alertness, ingenuity, and a deepening understanding of growth to do a successful job. But what about the poor mother who is in a rush to get home and get lunch for the baby and the big brother? Let's see what it's like to be the mother of a 2-and-a-half-year-old. Here's how the day goes.
Mommy! Mommy!
6:20. Oh, maybe she'll fall asleep again.
Mommy, I ripped my pants!
Of course, Jim always manages to sleep through. And 20 minutes later,
Mommy! Mommy!
oh well, she might as well stay up. Of course, she gave her plenty of toys, but it's always the one that drops out that Julia wants. And breakfast is so restful. This little routine seems to occupy a good part of the day. Or struggling to get her on when she must be nearly bursting. When she is quiet in the bathroom, there's usually a reason. Then comes the hour by herself, when Mother is supposed to get some housework done. In no time, she's calling for help. How can she do it so quickly? And as for those booby traps called snowsuits, come on, rubber legs. And as soon as she's out, she wants to come in. The difficulty is to think of something enticing for her to do outside. Of course, you shouldn't say no too often, but what else would you suggest? Pouring water on the baby's head, tipping over the plants. Julia loves this sitter, but just because Mother's in a hurry, she fusses. It's so restful to leave the house with wails ringing in your ears. It was a good movie, they told her afterwards. But over the past few months of bringing up her two, Julia's mother has learned a few tricks. She now removes the breakables and the easily destroyed things. Her husband copied the nursery school blocks, and they made the stove out of a butter box. It's better to pour water here than on the baby's head. Mrs. Jones lets her help with little jobs, even if it's more work in the end. Julia needs to feel useful. While she doesn't like Julia to smother the baby, Mother understands how hard it is for her to accept her rival. Gentle explaining and some extra loving go further than scoldings. When something has to be taken away from Julia, she still has tantrums, but they don't grate on Mrs. Jones' nerves so much. She knows that Julia is practicing asserting herself. She's glad she has a mind of her own. And Mother doesn't waste time on logic. She uses distraction and positive suggestions. There's lots of time later on for talking it out. Twos don't get their reputation for nothing. You can't condone cold cream smearing, but you can understand the fascination. Too bad the jar wasn't put away. And finger sucking is annoying, but the less stress put on it, the better. Mrs. Jones stresses the positive things, the right toys, books that are especially written for twos, really suitable records. And little trips around town increase Julia's understanding of her world and stimulate her imaginary play. Jim spends as much time with Julia as he can. Routines become events when Dad takes over. Roughhousing is Julia's favorite sport at the moment. The sitter is asked to come a bit early, so Julia gets used to the idea that she's here. But even if she's had a wonderfully happy day, she still doesn't want to go to bed. How consoling to know that the terrible two becomes the trusting three. Here are the same children in the same play yard a year later. Let's watch their behavior at 3. There's less running to and fro, more concentration, and the beginnings of playing together. They're more organized about what they're trying to do, but they're still not always successful at controlling things. Jay is less tumbly than he was at 2. He knows exactly where he's going. He manages the slide with ease, and he's more interested in what other children are doing, not nearly as self-centered as he was. And about sharing things, the attack is less primitive, but 3 still have a long way to go. His determination to get his own way has in most cases turned into a genuine desire to do what is expected of him. Even some simple logic is beginning to penetrate. Let him have his turn, and then he'll let you have a turn. Maybe he will. No, I guess not. an interesting alternative is still necessary sometimes. Now that he can really talk, he's almost too conversational. Sometimes he seems so grown up that it's hard to remember that he's still only 3. But we mustn't overestimate the 3's ability. They're all too anxious to try things beyond their capacity. Now he doesn't just pile up blocks, his buildings have names. But there's still a great deal to learn. Balance, proportion, weights. They still like to feel the texture of things, but clay is molded now instead of just felt. If they're given a chance to experiment with creating things now, even if they never become great artists, they'll appreciate and enjoy artistic things more for all the years to come. They have to learn about people, and one of the best ways is to imitate them. These children are not just pretending to be big, this is their way of learning how it feels to be big. Roddy is greedy. Perhaps Julia grabbed too many sandwiches once and she felt her social error. Perhaps Mother didn't scold her at all, but now she acts out what she felt, not what happened. Certainly, Julia and Roddy never saw this happen. But that is the beauty of 3-year-old play. It can change quickly from one thing to another without any worry about what is suitable or correct. It's not only imitation, it's full of imagination as well. To these children, blocks and a plank are a fire reel. Robert would like to get on too, but the 3 needs help in his first real steps at group play. Some need it more than others, but usually just a word from an adult is enough to get him started. But what about the 3 at home? No problems. She's wonderful. Of course, there are little things like talking and doing at the same time. She stops doing and just talks. Dressing and undressing take longer now, but letting her do it herself will be a time saver in the end. For when she likes to do it is when she learns to do it. Mrs. Jones is not concerned by lapses in appetite. She knows they're common at this age and that many a feeding problem has been started by threats and cajoling. Julia often doesn't sleep in the afternoon, but she still has a play nap. Sometimes she has unreasonable fears. Going into the cupboard, for instance. Mrs. Jones is sympathetic and she doesn't scoff. She knows that the best treatment is to make the subject familiar. Out in the afternoon, where most 3s spend a lot of their time, there are many troubles and tears. Usually, about this age, Mother decides that some neighbor's child is having a bad influence. Nearer the truth is the 3s just can't cope with the gang. But in small doses, with lots of assurance, it's good for them. The Jones have found that providing outdoor equipment is one step toward solving the street play problem. Small light ladders are lots of fun. And a large packing box and a few blocks and boards provide endless imaginary adventures. The children can change it from a climbing tower to a cozy house at will, depending on how they feel. But the most hectic hours in the Jones household are still from 5 to 7. And just when Mother is busiest, the hidden jealousy which is still there comes out in the form of unreasonable demands for attention. But Julia really enjoys being a useful member of society, and she's beginning to understand a future promise, such as, help me now, and then you can come down and see the guests. Mrs. Jones is very proud of Julia. She's so much better at 3 than she was at 2. Mrs. Jones thinks she's solved the problem of child training. But wait until she sees her at 4.
More terrible, too soon we'll be crossing through.
The big twin. No. The big deluxe. Oh, no. Oh, I still can't decide.
Hardee's has 2 quarter-pound charbroiled burgers. It's a big decision.
What's on the big twin again?
Big twin. 2 charbroiled patties, lettuce, cheese, special sauce.
And the big deluxe?
A quarter-pound of charbroiled beef with all the fixins.
What's to decide? They're both good.
Big deluxe. And a Coke.
Yay!
Hey, how about a Big Mac? Hey, how about a Big Twin? I want big. Artie's new Big Twin has more meat than a Big Mac, and it costs less. Hello, Big Twin.
So, put on the burgers and cheese, Hardee's. You really know how to please, Hardee's. Hardee's the taste that brings you back. Hardee's the taste that brings you back.
Hardee's Big Twin. It's got more meat than a Big Mac, and it costs less.
Hey, runner, do you John Wayne?
Afternoon, ma'am. Me and my partner been riding the range all day, and we'd like us a couple of big twin burgers.
It's the Road Runner.
Those 2 100% beef burgers, juicy charbroil with cheese, lettuce, special sauce. The finest hotel in Dodge City never had eats like that. Would you be wanting her autographs, ma'am?
No, cash will be fine, thank you. Duke.
Hardee's, best eating in town, up and down and all around.
Fine. Yes, I'd love to. Thanks, Jean. I'll be there. 2 o'clock. Goodbye. You know, 3 weeks ago, I couldn't have accepted that invitation. Like so many people these days, we live in the suburbs, and Dave needs the car every day for business. When he was gone, I was practically a prisoner in my own home. I couldn't get out to see my friends, couldn't take part in PTA activities. I couldn't even shop when I wanted to. I had to wait till Thursday night after Dave brought the car home. But that's all changed now. 3 weeks ago, we bought another Ford. The new, low-priced, custom-line Victoria. Isn't it stunning? Dave has it all to himself. And I now have the ranch wagon all to myself. It's a whole new way of life. Now I'm free to go anywhere, do anything, see anybody anytime I want to. It's only good common sense. Why be stuck with one expensive car when you can enjoy all the fun and freedom of 2 fine Fords?
Today, more and more families are finding out how easy it is to become 2 Ford families. You can choose from 20 different models, colors galore, and each available with Thunderbird power, with styling inspired by the famous Ford Thunderbird, and each with the extra protection of Ford's Lifeguard design. See your Ford dealer soon.
So there were some ads there, which had 2s and twins. Somebody requested Malika Do Skip 2, which I would love to show, but I'm out of time, and I have a pressing engagement at 2:30. But thank you, Mitch and Nate, for the coffee. You can buy us coffee at ko-fi.com/avgeeks. You can also go to avgeeks.com and buy DVDs and other stuff and see other things we have online. But thanks, everybody, for 222. We'll be back tomorrow with our regular programming. Everybody have a great rest of your Tuesday. Tuesday, 2. I get it now. All right, great. All right, take care, everybody.